So Angie, go ahead and tell me how you got involved, how this whole thing started.
Okay. My name's Angie Coles, and I'm the aunt of Bryce Bitterman, and his son is Cade, and he's in a court case with 3 petitioners, the grandparents. And his mom was in a tragic accident January 13th, 2022. It was on the Quincy Highway, and she got out to help someone with a deer, and Cade was left in the car, and he was only 3.5 years old. And so he watched the whole accident. The petitioners filed for a full parenting plan on May 25th for mediation, and then they also filed July 25th, and then brought it to the court September 6, 2022. I do want to say that Bryce has never denied visitation to these 3 grandparents.
I see.
And
so they're asking for full custody of Cade?
Yes, they filed for a full parenting plan, and then they backed down from it, and Judge Huber settled for 1 week and a month, a Wednesday, split Christmas, split spring break, 2 weeks out of the summer. And I also want to say that Cade's counselor said that he's not supposed to have visitation without his father, and no overnight visitation. And Bryce has always done visits with them. He started right away giving them visits. He never denied them visits.
Yeah. How did the battle over custody begin after the accident? Where did that start?
Okay, after the accident, Bryce was doing visitation. And then in February, it was 26, 2022, I've posted it. He came to them and said that Cade's counselors recommended that Bryce be present on the visits, because Cade actually saw his mom get killed. And so he's having separation anxiety, trauma, PSD. And so they did that until May 25th. Well, back up a little bit, because Cade got sick for 3 weeks. And so they said that Bryce was denying visits. And then we found out that they were down at JDSA January 24th, 11 days after the accident. So they were trying to get consistency that they never had.
Right, I see. And with Judge Huber, you would like him to recuse himself. Why is that?
Because he's friends with the petitioners. He worked at JDSA. He was a partner. That's where Dave People went to. He should recuse himself. And so, yeah. And also, Bryce said he met him when he was first dating Taylor at a family dinner at the Peoples. And so it's well known in the Valley that he should have recused himself. And Bryce actually asked Justin Collier affidavit of prejudice on 11/7/2022, and Justin wouldn't file it. So, yeah.
Is because of favoritism, you think?
I think he was afraid. I think he's afraid. Just my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did the idea to start a public campaign start?
Okay, I was keeping silent for a long time, but it's in August, and I have the minutes. I think it was an August 10th or 15th hearing, but Beth Branton was, in her declaration, she wanted to put me, my little sister, and Bryce's parents in jail, charge us $1,000 a day until we gave up Bryce's address, and then she filed a habeas corpus writ for Kate, and that puts him in CPS, and a warrant for Bryce with no release date until he hands over his son. And right then, I went to my pastor, and he's been with me this whole time, and he's like, you need to go public. And so that's when I started going public.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was August of last year?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you explain how this whole thing has worked with Bryce, and he's been held in contempt of court? Can you explain that?
Yeah. So I do want to say this. So there's no grandparents in the state of Washington that's ever met a threshold, ever. over a fit parent.
To have custody, yeah.
To have anything, no
Yeah.
visits, nothing.
Yeah.
And so, how he met the threshold, how Judge Huber used, he only used the petitioner's declarations, and he used a paid psychiatrist from Maryland, paid by the petitioners. Never met Cade, never met Bryce, and on her, I have the documents, on her last page, there are 3 names. And he said it was consistent with the petitioner's declarations. Well, of course, that's all she read. And they only send her what they want to send. She only talks to them on the phone. And so he said that they met the high threshold. He never read Bryce's declarations.
And never spoke with Cade
No.
personally?
No, and he rejects Cade's own counselor.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it's kind of a battle of each side's mental health experts.
yeah, but long story short, he was shut down right away. This case was shut down in 3 days. Bryce didn't get an evidential hearing or a trial. He's never got his due process. He's never been able to bring anything to the table. And in the 11th first hearing and the 9th and 12th of 2002, I have documentation that the judge admits he doesn't read Bryce Bitterman's declarations.
Really?
He doesn't have time.
He
Yeah.
said that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is Bryce still in contempt of court?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's in contempt of court because in December 5th, 2022, so there was a hearing on November 9th, and they brought the parenting plan. Bryce moved the 8th with his son. Justin was supposed to tell the court, and he didn't. However, between the 9th and the 23rd, I have emails from Beth Bratton and Justin that Justin told Beth that he moved on the 17th. We need a modification. Can you write one up?
Right.
She didn't file those emails until February 2023. Instead, she filed for a preview of the visitation that was talked about in that hearing. You can get the CD and the minutes. There's never a start date. She filed for the visitation. She filed for contempt for November. And then December 1st, she filed relocation, and it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but it's parenting custody to give him back to them, knowing that he already moved. And so December 5th was the hearing, and our second attorney came on board, Canberra, and Judge Huber didn't know because he doesn't read anything, and he just said he never gave her a continuance. He shut the case down, and he signed the order for visitation, and he held Bryce in contempt in November when there wasn't even a start date.
Really?
And he knew he moved to New Mexico, and then he added on FaceTimes every other night for 10 minutes for a little boy that's 4 years old. And if Bryce doesn't do them, now he gets charged $800 per FaceTime.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get the billboard, and what has the public reaction been to this public campaign?
I got the billboard. This is my friend's billboard. So I started with the signs, and then she was out doing rallies and stuff. She's like, "You need my billboard." I go, "Yeah, I do." So she, her and her husband, their business, I got the billboard. I have a lot of support from the community. We have a lot of people praying. And then I have some that are coming against me because they don't want the truth, but that's okay. That's what it's all about, is getting the truth out to the public. So we have no other way to do it at this. We've had 5 reconsiderations up above in front of Judge Huber, CR 59, new evidence. He's denied every single one. We're currently on, I think this is our 5th one, for the active warrant. And we filed evidence of perjury, even on Judge Huber, since March 25th. He's ignoring us. Yeah.
So I guess that was my next question is what do you hope, how do you hope that this case is resolved?
Okay.
Or how would you like to see this case resolved?
How would I like to see this case?
Yes.
I would like to see this case be dismissed. And of course, Judge Huber be reprimanded, and Beth Bratton. But for the families, I would like healing and restoration for the families. I know they're hurting over their daughter. We love Taylor so much too, but Cade and Bryce are hurting too, and this is just a wrong way to see your grandson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's currently a warrant out for
Mhm,
Bryce. Yeah.
mhm. In a civil case, and no one's ever heard of one.
That's
So
the what?
it's a civil matter.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is unusual.
yeah,
Yeah.
this case is unusual.
Yeah.
And then Judge Huber says he's a fugitive, and his appeal got shut down because they used a fugitive ruling, and it got dismissed at the commissioner level.
Oh, I see.
No one's ever heard of that either.
So the county commissioner level,
the
or the
appeal.
okay,
appeal.
so above
Yeah.
Huber. Wow. Huh.
I know, it's like you can't make it's like no
Yeah.
one's ever heard of that being done.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and how's Cade doing?
He's
How
doing
is he?
awesome.
Okay.
He's doing
Good.
awesome. Yeah. So that's one of the RCWs. You have to prove that the child's there's harm from no visits. They could never prove that that he's in any harm with his dad, but they're both doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you think the community should know about this story that maybe we didn't cover?
It's a sad story. I'm just asking them that they would pray for justice in this case, and that if they want any documents, I'm just speaking truth. And with Judge Huber being in the position he's in, he's not ethical at all. And so I think it's time we wake up our eyes. There's only one judge up there. I don't know why we don't have two. And I do want to say, I have one more thing. There's a hearing December 19th, 2022, and Bryce's attorney thought it was the 20th, but so Judge Huber put the petitioners, Dave and Tracy, under oath, live testimony, without Bryce's attorney and Bryce there, and he cross-examined them, and they, under oath, said that they were primary caretakers of Cade, and they perjured themselves.
I see.
Yes, yes.
And they've never been primary caretakers?
Never. They've never had custody of Cade, ever. In fact, they moved to Kashmir in July 2021, and then away from, because Taylor and Cade live with them, and then Taylor and Cade moved in September, so that's 7 months. And they've never had consistent visitation when Taylor was alive, never.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you for speaking
Thank
with me
you.
today, and I hope that shedding some light on this helps people understand what's going on, and it is a very interesting, unique story, and I'm glad to hear that Cade is doing well.
I just want everybody to know, me speaking truth, I'm not trying to bring harm to the petitioners.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking truth.
Yeah, well, that was actually one other question that I had about so you've been personally threatened with lawsuits
Yes.
as well. Could you
Yes.
talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was the first day I got my yard signs. I was out putting my yard signs and I left, and then my neighbor said that some guy in a white GMC truck was over taking pictures, and I giggled because I think I know who it is. And then it was on a Saturday, like 5:57. I got a cease and desist letter from Corey Kane on behalf of Ted and Tracy People and Ted Fukasawa. Yeah.
And what's transpired there? Have you responded to it, or have they taken any action? Yeah.
No, I just did my first live that Monday.
So that was your reaction to be more public? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I could either go one way. You can be afraid or you can move forward in the truth, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that was another thing that I was thinking of. We were talking or emailing the other day. So how have the pastors gotten involved in this? 'Cause you said your pastor spoke with their pastor. How is this a part of the story?
Okay. Yeah. Their pastor from Eastmont Church called my pastor, Pastor Will, and he didn't give me exact words that they don't like me on social media, what I'm doing. And so they went to lunch or breakfast, and my pastor came to them, dismiss the case, get healing, and a mutual mediator would meet with Bryce. I don't believe it was me, but we get the take that's not what his pastor came for. I can't reveal the text messages but yeah, they were just, I feel he was just sent to shut me up. So, and then I got a letter from Mr. People, and I shared that with you, which I was surprised because it's not my case. But anyway, I don't feel like I'm doing anything harm because I'm speaking the truth.